Sponsored in part by DollarSeed.com for your flowers, vegetables, and herbs. All organic seeds, all only $1 a pack.
Minority.com, authentic Haven brand, 100% natural soil condition for the home garden. Squirrel and Worm Farm, organic farm and gardening supplies, located in Plymouth, Wisconsin. SquirrelandWormFarm.com.
RoseSpringsSoap.com, handmade soap with simple, recognizable ingredients. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. I'm Joy Baird. We're in the small garden today, and we're going to plant some radishes, some beets, and some kohlrabi. It's the middle to the late portions of the month of September, and that means here in the southeast portion of Wisconsin, winter is unfortunately not too far away. So in the traditional garden sense of planting directly in the ground, we're going to be limited on the amount of time we'll have these things to be able to germinate. Now with the radishes, it'll take between 25 and 33 days to harvest, so that'll be a great crop. We can get in real quick and get something more out of the garden. With the beets, it will take 60 days. With the kohlrabi, it'll take 60 days. So that'll push her back into November, and we may be just wasting our time planting those, but at least we're going to get the radishes in the ground, and we're going to plant Easter egg radishes, and we're going to plant white icicle radishes, as well as the daikon radishes that we tried to plant earlier this spring. We just got away from us and they went to seed because it was too warm. Daikons are more of a winter or very cold tolerant radish, so we're going to do that. So we've got this bed right here, and this is where we had some beans, I believe, earlier in the spring that we pulled up. And no, we had onions here. That's what we had here. I've got one parsnip, and I've got a couple of carrots that the rabbits in the area here have not eaten. So we're going to plant these, and then we're going to take our metal fencing and border around to keep them from gnawing these things down the ground so we get something. So it's a very simple procedure when planting radishes. I'm just going to put them right up next to the parsnips and the carrots here. Now I'm not using seed tape. I'm just going to do my best to space them. We'll use the Easter egg first to space them as about 4 inches apart. And with the radishes, again, the tops are edible if you choose to go that route. I'm going about 4 inches here, as well as the bulb, and the bulb can be canned or can just be eaten raw or cooked in that manner. With the days getting cooler, we should not have to worry about these going to seed or bolting or being a very hot bulb, because of usually they do that when the weather starts turning. So I'll mark turning for the warm. So I'll mark this here, gently cover up. We won't have to water. Soil is very moist already. Now the daikons are going to grow a little bit larger, so I'm going to put them over here next to the tomatoes because I kind of want to have their own space. So I'll go in line with the post here. And you just want to slightly put them under the soil. I'll put a marker here so I first know where I'm at. And the daikons are right here. With the daikons, if you watched our Straight to the Point series, they can get 17 inches in length and up to 3 inches in diameter. So we are going to do our best with this very loose soil in the small garden here. I got a couple too many close there. These I'm putting about 5 inches apart because they will get very large in diameter. At least that's the plan on these. So I've got a few extra here. So I did about a dozen there, so that should be more than enough. All right, we'll cover those up. Again, just pinching over the top. And again, with the planting of the fall this late, though the soil is moist now, we still need to water these if it does become dry. All right, we've got the Easter egg radishes. And with the Easter egg, it's not your traditional red radish. You've got some beige, some blue, some pink, some red. So it's a really nice Easter egg colors. So now I'm going to leave the two center here. I've got a space of 16 inches. I'm going to leave for one row of kohlrabi here. And then we'll move over to the far end here and we'll plant the beets and see what we can get on those. And we'll plant the beets and the icicles over there. So we will plant one row of kohlrabi. Now this is a green kohlrabi. And we are going to space these about every 6 inches because they will bulb up, and a good kohlrabi on the small size will be the size of a baseball. On the large size, they can get pretty massive. So I'm going to go one seed every 6 inches and just cover those up. Now, since we're done with this area, I'll take the fence here to try our best to prevent the rabbits from eating, because when we pulled the onions out of the bed here, the rabbits came back and they just gnawed away some of our pole beans that we had on the fence there, and it really took out about half of our crops. So we want to try to at least put some resistance up for the rabbits. So that's good there. Now we've got the beets and we've got the white icicle radish. White icicle radishes are not daikon radishes. They look like white icicles, and they can get, 6-7 inches long. So we're going to put them right here by our nice pepper plant that's doing surprisingly well. A lot better than some of the other ones. Really nice. Got a lot of peppers on it. Got some more blooms. These will take a little bit longer than the Easter eggs radishes. So I did a couple there. That'll be good. Mark it. Now I'm going to do one row. Well, let's do one row of beets here. Yeah, why not? Let's go 2. Now beets are needing to be planted about, I want to give them a 5-inch gap here. All right, cover those up. I'll mark them. Use this marker here. And that's pretty much how easy it is to plant your fall vegetables. At least whenever it's getting late, you want to plant some stuff that's going to produce relatively quick. So speaking of the winter coming, let's go up to Windsor, Ontario, Canada, to the host of YouTube channels Getting Their Green, Randy and Amanda. They're also the founders of GettingTheirGreen.com. Both links will be in the show notes below, where Randy's going to show us some of the ways to prune your tomatoes.
Thanks, Holly and Joey. This is Randy and Amanda behind the camera from Getting Their Green with a tip on how to prune your plants within your garden to get greater yields and to be able to care for your plants so they are less likely to get disease. Now, one of the ways we cared for our tomatoes was to prune them. Now, when I say pruning, a lot of people think cutting way back. Now, that is one way to change the way your tomato grows, but depending if you want your tomato to grow up or grow out, you will prune different ways. What we're going to cover today is the way that we did it this year. Is we grew up this time, and we did pretty well, and we still have tomatoes on the plant, so I'm going to show you what I did to make these yields to continue and keep going. So if we can focus down here, I'm going to show you first a couple things that we use. We've got regular shears that you would use for pruning rose bushes and things like that. You can use that if that's what you have. You can use kitchen scissors, or use this. These are very precise. These are specific for pruning in the garden. They're very, very easy to use, small. You don't have to exude a lot of energy, but that's what we're using today. So we're going to leave the big honkin' shears aside and just use the little ones here. So first thing I'm going to show you is at the bottom of this plant right here, you see, if you're getting close, we have this little guy coming out at the bottom. This is what you'd call a sucker. All right. Now, if you're early in the season and you want your tomato plant to bush out, then by all means keep that. Take a few of the lower ones. Once this is a little bit bigger, I'd say about like that, about that high from your main stalk, and cut some of the lower leaves back. It'll encourage upward growth. When you do that, bury it up a little bit, and then that sucker will take off, and you'll get a bush plant rather than a straight up like a tree like we've got here. But what we're doing is we're encouraging upward growth. If that's what you want, this is what you do. Cut your sucker off. Now, you can take that cutting and plant it elsewhere, and it more than likely will grow another tomato plant for you. Okay, so that's one tip. If you want more tomatoes from current plants that you're already growing, that's one way to do it. But what you do is you're going to look for things like this on your plant as well. You see how these leaves here are yellowing? That is blight, and you do not want that on your tomato plant. So cut that off, throw that away. Don't try and plant that. That's not going to go anywhere. Okay? And again, if you've got a lot of fruit at the top of the plant, which we do, we've got flowers still happening at the top of our plant here. If you look way up, you can see way up here, and you don't have anything happening below, whatever's happening below really isn't helping the fruit. It's really taking energy away from the plant, the fruits on the plant. So anything that's down low, like for instance here, like you'll see it's bare from here down. We're going to keep going up to where it stops, to where you have fruit, no more fruit. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take this guy off right here. Okay, so as you can see, the bottom now looks pretty bare. If you look at it now, and you see we went up to, well, we see we have a fruit here, and we start to get flowers up here, so we stop. Okay, and you really want to support, because it's going kind of twiggy, right? So you see how down here I've got this. You're going to want to support your plant higher up now. So move that up. Keep it loose so you can move it when you first set it up, and it will support your plant. And we'll do the same thing with the other plant over here, and just keep it going. It'll send all of its energy from the roots through the stalk. Instead of going to all the leaves all over the place, now it's going to go to where the fruit is going, at the upper portions of your plant.
Thanks, Randy and Amanda, for that great information about how to prune the leaves off the bottom of your tomato plants so they can focus all the growth on ripening the fruit on the plant instead of working on growing leaves. So I got my other fence here, and I want to fence off the beets and the icicle radishes that we've got planted here to keep the rabbits at bay, so at least we can get something at the end of the season. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe to Getting There Green YouTube channel. That link's in the show notes below, as well as our channel, West Veggie Gardeners. We put out this particular video each and every Tuesday with a variety of other videos throughout the week. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been a Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Extra. For more information, you can visit our website at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.